In February, I decided I wanted to become a public speaker, and in March, I had 8 speaking engagements lined up. This is the email I would send to brands and companies to actually make that goal a reality. And today I am going to be sharing it with you and also breaking it down so that you can become a public speaker as well. But before we get into it, I wanted to talk about a very important thing that I did, which is I threw away the playbook. I had to rewrite the rules of what it meant to send these emails and send cold emails to brands and companies, because by doing that, I actually think I became more successful. The average response rate of a cold email is 1%, and mine was actually 15%. So by doing these things, by writing my email in the way that I did, it actually became more successful than a lot of other cold emails usually are. If you don't know what a cold email is just an email you send to someone that you don't know, you've never spoken to, you haven't got a prior relationship with. You are literally sending a stranger an email, basically. Now, a lot of people will tell you to do the opposite of these 3 things, and sometimes it's good to not listen to the rules. So the first one is I didn't use any email software or anything like that to send my emails en masse. I think that is the quickest way to end up in someone's spam. So I try to avoid those things altogether, and I just use my normal email provider. I also think this stops you from customizing the email as much and making it more personal and adding your personality into it, which I'm going to go into more detail of why that is important when we go through the email. But just know to stay away from those email software that you can use unless you want to end up in someone's spam. The second thing is my email is actually really long in comparison to a lot of other cold emails that you might receive. Typically, what I find with these cold emails is they're usually maybe 2 to 5 sentences long. But the issue with that is you can't actually get that much detail and that much information in there. And you might think, okay, if I receive this long email, that's going to overwhelm people. I have found that that is not the case. And when I receive these really short, cold emails that are like, hey, I want to tell you more about this thing. Is that okay? I'm like, don't ask me, just tell me. That's the approach that I took. And again, I think that's one of the things that helped with the success of my emails. And finally, I didn't follow up every 2 to 3 days. This is the quickest way to become the most annoying person in someone's inbox. Please stop doing this. It is so annoying. Instead, I would just follow up every 7 days, and I only followed up twice. Listen, I don't mind being rejected. I don't mind being ghosted. Well, that's a bit of a lie. It doesn't feel good to be ghosted and rejected, but I also know when I need to just exit out of someone's inbox, and sometimes no response is also a response. And also, if you think about it, as I said, the email is also quite long. If I'm following up with you after 2 days, you might not have read the email yet, or maybe you read the email but you haven't really got time to process it yet. So people just need more time than you think. Allowing more time in between when I would actually send a response, I think helped again with the success of my emails. Now let's actually break down an email that I sent and why I think each section works so well and why you need all of these sections to make a very nice cold email. So let's get into it. Let's start with the greeting. Ideally, the email will be addressed to a specific person. If I don't have the person's first name, for example, then I will just say organization names team. So for example, hi Jenny, or hi ASOS team. That way they know this email is actually being sent to the right person, and you've taken that little bit of an extra step to making sure that you get that right. You would be surprised at how many emails I get that are like, hi Beth N, because that's the name on my LinkedIn, or hi at orchidmarketing.co, because that's the username on my Instagram. Taking the time out to actually get the name right is really important. It's a small detail, but it's an important one. If you can, try and find the person responsible for that department, for that event, whatever it is, and address an email directly to them. The second thing I would go into is acknowledging their work. For example, maybe an event that they put on recently, or something that they do that I really like at their company, or just showing in general that I understand their mission, their organization, or as I said, previous events that they've done in the past. This is important because it helps to build rapport and also shows a genuine interest and shows that I do actually care about your organization and that I've done my research as well. As an example here, you can say, I've been following your organization for a while and really admire the work that you're doing. This event that you put on recently about International Women's Day looked really, really good. I especially loved this speaker that you had. I've been following their work for a while. I think what you do at such and such organization is such important work. This section doesn't have to be super long, but again, it just shows that you've taken some time out, you've done some research. From the perspective of the person receiving this email, they can see this person gets it and they kind of assume that you already align with their mission and vision too. Then I go into the introduction to the workshop or the topic that I'm trying to speak about. Obviously, this establishes why you're reaching out and what you offer. And going from where you said how much you like their organization into how then your speech or your workshop connects to their existing work, again shows that you've done the research, it shows that you're aligned, and it makes sense as to why you're reaching out with this offer and with this email in the first place. So for this section, it says something like, I'm reaching out because I host personal branding workshops that are both interactive but also genuinely practical and helpful. If they have hosted something similar to this, you can also say, I saw that you recently hosted a similar workshop or similar event, and I think my session would complement that perfectly. If not, then you can just say briefly how your workshop or your speech aligns with their mission and the value it will add. Specifically, the value it will add to their audience or their members or whoever the attendees are going to be. After this, I add in some testimonials for credibility. I add 2 in, so I add one in from an attendee, and I also add one in from an event host, so they can see not only do their attendees get a lot of value out of the workshop and the thing that I'm speaking about, but also from an event host or event organizer perspective, I'm very easy to work with, it's worth working with me, and also it builds that trust from their perspective. They can see, okay, I know what I'm doing and I know what I'm talking about, and I can actually deliver on this. If you don't have any testimonials, I would suggest doing a few of these public speaking engagements for free so that you can get those testimonials from attendees and from these event organizers and then use them in your emails going forward. But if you are starting out with no testimonials, then just leave this part out, because the rest of it will go into detail of how you can still offer value. Now we get into the actual offer, the thing that you are actually giving to these event organizers. I think this is the thing that really set me apart from other people pitching their workshops or their speeches, because I actually took the time out to create an offer that was genuinely beneficial for both the attendees and the event organizers. So when I'm pitching, it's not just another workshop or it's not just another public speaker. It's someone that understands what goes into actually hosting an event, making an event, and appreciating all of the time and effort and hard work that goes into putting on a great event. For example, my offer is split into pre-event, during event, and post-event support. Let's break that down into what that actually looks like now. With pre-event support, I give details on how I am going to make their job easier. So here I want to show that I'm going to reduce their workload and add value to them as the organizer themselves. For example, I'll make sure that the workshop is customized to their specific audience and the things that they want me to talk about. Obviously, you don't want to be making a completely new workshop every single time, because that's a lot of work on your end, but recognizing that there's some flexibility, and if they want me to talk about something in particular because that is really relevant for their audience, recognizing that I can do that and appreciating that that would again make the workshop even better for their audience and make it even better for them in general as well. Second thing is also showing that I am happy to promote the event and actually do my own marketing for the event as well. I've been on the other side of organizing these events and working with public speakers, and you would be surprised at how many don't say anything and don't promote it at all. When you actually do it yourself, especially as you, the person that's putting on this workshop, you obviously know the material the best, so you're going to create marketing material that is going to be so much more engaging, so much more impactful, and so much more convincing. I always say that I will do social media posts and also post on like Instagram stories, for example, to help drive that interest, drive that engagement, drive people to actually then either purchasing or signing up for a ticket. And the final thing that I offer in the pre-event support is an easily accessible press kit. Now, this is literally just like my headshots and a bio, but again, you would be surprised at how difficult it is to find both of those things. So having a space where they can easily download pictures, my headshots, and also my bio so that they can use it for their own marketing material is genuinely a very small but very important detail again. By the way, how I do this is I will set up a Google Drive Drive portal, I call it, for each client, so that not only do they have access to my bio, my headshots, but also if there's anything else that they need to have access to, it's all there, it's all easily accessible, and they don't have to go sifting through emails to find, this one attachment that I had sent in an email. Now let's move on to during the event. Here I want to highlight again the practicality of the workshop itself, kind of referencing the things that I said earlier on. So if I mentioned that it was really engaging and that it was really practical, here I want to actually back that up and say, okay, this is how I'm going to make it engaging and practical. So typically what I'll say here is during the event, I will put on an engaging, actionable or practical session, however you want to describe it. And then I'll add something like, because my workshop includes exercises, or, gets them working together in groups, for example, making it tangible so they can actually see by doing this thing, that means it's engaging and practical. Now, this next part of my offer goes into both during the event and post-event support. So I will talk about this as a kind of twofer, which is testimonials. This is something I have never seen any other workshop facilitator do, and I genuinely believe this was the clincher for a lot of the organizations that I partnered with. Testimonials, when you are actually the one organizing the event and actually running the event and making sure that nothing breaks down and everything's going to plan, is really, really difficult. Typically, that's like the last thing on your mind. But me as a speaker, I'm coming in, I obviously am offering all of these things, but in terms of what I'm actually doing to help run the event, that's not really my domain. So one of the things that I can do to really offer that support and really show that I care about the success of this event is also get testimonials, because this is something that they can use to promote future events with. It's something that they can add to their marketing material, and it means that, I'm giving back and I'm again showing my appreciation for all their time, hard work and effort. At these events that I'm speaking at, I will get live testimonials, live video testimonials. Typically, they will be like 30 to 60 seconds long. They're really not that time intensive. Whenever I do give these organizers these testimonials, they do end up using them and they are very, very grateful for them. So again, it's just a really good thing to offer, I think, and something that really helps you stand out. Add in the things that are obviously specific to the industry and the things that you're talking about, but also try and have a think about what are some things that typically people don't offer or that you think will help you stand out. So as I said, the testimonials are kind of related to the post-event support as well. What you want to do here is explain how the impact extends beyond the session. So obviously, when we got video testimonials, that's something that they can use to promote further events that they have in the future. But it also demonstrates like the long-term value and the long-term impact that you as a speaker want to have, both for them and for the attendees as well. For example, I always give exclusive free resources post-event that attendees can download and walk away with. Typically in these resources and in these exercises, they will expand on what we've talked about, but also actually help them implement what we have talked about. So it will have templates, it will have things that they can do, it will have other ways to think about their personal brand, because I put on personal branding workshops. It just means again that obviously there's only so much that I can cover in an hour and a half. So again, this means that they can go on and do more and have much more of an impact after the workshop's over. So as I mentioned, I get video testimonials, but I also get written testimonials, and I get those through the resources. So when they download the resources, they'll be automatically prompted to fill out a little questionnaire. It's a very short questionnaire. There's like 3 or 4 questions. That is also how I get then the written testimonials of how good the event was, how good the workshop was. It helps them, it helps me. Everyone is winning in this scenario. The more testimonials that you get, the better. The final section of the email is the CTA, otherwise known as the call to action. This is where you just invite them to discuss further. This is again another small detail, but I really don't like when people are like, here's a link to my calendar or something to book yourself onto a call. With these CTAs, encouraging an easy, low commitment next step is a better way of doing things. And the reason why is because of with or without you energy. With or without you energy is something that was coined by another entrepreneur, Daniel Daniel Priestley, where he says basically if you're acting out of desperation, that is going to come across. Having with or without you energy is like, I'm going to do these workshops anyway, I'm going to do this public speaking anyway, I might as well do it with you, but if not, don't worry. Here I will typically say, if this sounds like something you're interested in, I'd love to set up a time to chat. Then I would just sign off with my normal signature of like, all the best, Beth. So that is the breakdown of the cold email that I would send to companies and brands and event organizers to become a public speaker in just a few weeks. And actually the most speaking engagements I had lined up were in March, but I already had some booked in for February. I have some booked in now for April and May and June. So the fruits of that labor that I had put in February, I'm still reaping the benefits of that. I really haven't changed much about this template, and I've been using the same one now for over 100 pitches that I've done and 100 emails that I've sent. I also want to make it clear that you will get a lot of rejections, you will get a lot of ghosting. That's just how things work. That's the end of the email breakdown. I hope that that was helpful. Please let me know what you are going to do differently in your cold emails. Also, let me know in the comments who is your dream bucket list client that you would love to speak for or do a workshop for, or who you're trying to pitch to. Let's all help each other out, reach our goals, and become amazing public speakers this year. I'll see you in my next one. Bye!